Sorry about that, guys. We had a video timed out, so this will be part 2 of random conservatives need to fucking man up. So you were talking about the vaccine and you know where Johnson & Johnson has failed over and over again repeatedly. And then I just real quick, I wanted to pull this up just so I didn't know if you were aware of it, but Pfizer actually has the biggest pharmaceutical lawsuit that has ever happened.
Yeah,
ever.
Pfizer's a horrible company. Horrible company. And I was gonna make the point. I don't know. Did you have something else to say?
Nope, that's it. I didn't know if you knew that.
I was gonna make the point. Pfizer is a major contributor to the opioid epidemic. I don't remember exactly what pills Pfizer produces, but they definitely produce opiates, and they were definitely a big part of that, if not a major part of the opioid epidemic. And do you want me talking about towns that are nearby or no?
I do.
You do?
So I mean, yeah. So there's only like 12 people that watch the channel, so understand that not a lot of people listen. I'm very small, and
Right.
everybody that follows up to this point, pretty much I live pretty close to them. So I mean, it's relevant to talk about towns because those are going to be probably the people that we're going to reach first that aren't paying attention to these things. But yeah, so yeah, sure.
Well, I was going to bring up Piqua. Piqua is a town not too far from here that was hit majorly by the opioid epidemic. I mean, there would be whole households of people dying. Centerville is that's close to an hour south of here. Centerville is a wealthy area, a Dayton suburb, very wealthy area. A kid got off of his bus, and you can look this up. This happened towards the end of the opioid epidemic, actually.
I don't believe that the opioid epidemic is over.
No, probably not. I mean, but it obviously was peaking back then. But the kid comes home from school, okay, gets off of his bus, goes into his house. Both of his parents, who were private pilots, I believe, something like that, were dead, OD'd on fentanyl. Okay, I mean,
his parents or the
both
kid?
of his parents. Both of his parents. Shit. He came home from school, and both of his parents were dead. And this is like a definitely upper class neighborhood. I mean, it'd be considered upper class compared to us. I mean,
I played Centerville every homecoming in my freshman and sophomore year because I played for Fairmont, which is Kettering, and my brother goes to Alter, so I'm very familiar with Centerville. Actually,
it's a wealthy area. It's other than Springboro, I'd say it's the one of the. I mean, I guess there's Oakwood. That's pretty damn. But
Centerville
small,
is so. Think of Old Rich as Oakwood, and Centerville is like New
Rich. Yep.
New Rich.
So I wonder what the average income over there is. It's got to be over 200,000, I would say. But this was a beautiful neighborhood. I mean, definitely easily a $300,000 house that this kid's walking into, coming home from school.
It is more than
both
that.
of his parents are dead. Both of his parents are dead from opioids, and these are well-to-do people, right, that are affected by this. So it's not just your scummy white trash like what everyone likes to say it is, right? It affects everybody. But Pfizer was huge in that, right? So, and then let's talk about COVID deaths, right? I remember during the opioid epidemic, the morticians had to start sending some of these bodies to other county morticians, right? Because they couldn't keep up with it. Mm-hmm. Let me just ask you, where's that with COVID? Where's that at with COVID? Because I don't see it. I don't see the hospitals full. I don't see any of that.
There's actually more kids drowning in swimming pools than dying from COVID, and there are also more kids committing suicide because of depression.
God forbid 85-year-old grandma die. So strap your kid up with a mask. Let's throw tape across his face. Let's tape that mask to his face, so when he drinks water, he has to drink through the mask. And let's force vaccinate people, and let's do all these things because God forbid 85-year-old grandma who contributed to the destruction of this country, the boomer generation, God forbid she die of some kind of an illness that she would have gotten anyways. If nobody ever would have brought it up COVID, if you never heard about COVID on the media, like if you walked out of a cave and like you were deaf, you would have no idea. The idea of a pandemic wouldn't even cross through your head. And
why
really,
do you think?
really
Why do you
think
the Taliban isn't worried about vaccinations or COVID?
Because they're based.
So, with the opioid epidemic, a point that largely gets thrown away and discarded is, I think a lot of people think of, like you said, nobody really considers like people in Centerville and stuff like that. Nobody really pays attention until it starts happening there.
Yeah.
Well, it's happening everywhere, and don't think it's because. Some of it is, 16-year-olds doing stupid shit and then getting caught up. But I broke my arm 4 years ago, right? Look at what fentanyl is doing to this country. What do you think they gave me as soon as I got to the hospital?
Right.
Fentanyl. No, in the middle of an opioid epidemic, with fentanyl being the biggest contributor to OD deaths in the United States, their first go-to when you enter the hospital is to inject them with fentanyl.
Yeah. Yeah, and
that's a large portion of the opioid epidemic, and there's been emails that have been traced to the people who funded and own the companies of these opiate manufacturers, and they know what they're doing. They know that they have people hooked, and that's why they charge what they charge. I mean, it's outrageous. The medications while I was fighting with workman's comp for my arm, I had to pay out of pocket because I lost insurance with the company because they fired me, and workman's comp wasn't covering it just yet. They ended up reimbursing me, but I had to pay out of pocket. Every week, it was $475. That was more than what I was making to get the painkillers that they wanted me on.
Yep.
And then once you're on those painkillers for so long, that's where the spiral starts. So it's not all, kids in these ghettos and shit like that.
Or like homeless people.
I almost have a lot of empathy for these people because they were almost targeted.
Absolutely, they were targeted. Absolutely. There's a lot of money to be made selling you drugs legally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think as soon as they figured out how to make money off of marijuana and not think that kids were going to sneak it in, their shoes and little baggies all the time, they weren't going to fight that.
Well, let's talk about marijuana a little bit. I want to make a greater point, but the other reason why they're okay with marijuana is because you're an idiot when you're constantly on pot. When you're on pot 24/7, I mean, you're stupid. And I mean, I've done it, but it's breaking. It's just another part of breaking down the moral fabric. It's another part of dumbing you down. Pot is just part of that. And I'm not like, I know a lot of people are passionate about, smoking pot, but I mean, again, if the government right now, the way they are, is for it, I mean, you really need to consider if it's good for you. I mean,
that's a great point.
Yeah.
Maybe they found out that it's perfectly fine or whatever you want to say.
I don't think it's horrible for you, but what I'm saying is it's easy when you're on pot to be less
manipulated.
Productive, be manipulated. It's easy to convince. You know what I mean? So it's one thing when you're doing it in your house. It's another thing when you're just 24/7 stoned. I mean, you don't care about anything. I mean, I criticizing pot gets you a lot of hate, but I mean, it's stupid. It's
I don't
dumb.
think there's anybody
kids
out there that can legitimately argue that they can run on 100% all 8 cylinders all the time the way they could do normally when they smoke pot. I mean, I do know people that are functioning addicts, as you would say it, with other drugs, but I don't believe pot is one of those. You don't get blazed, right, and go win Olympic sports. You might win that gold medal and then go home, but you're not doing it before the competition, right? And there's a reason for that. So I guess, it's another route to go down for pain therapy, but I don't think it's something that's peaking you out in any aspect of your life.
Yeah. Anything, again, anything, either party really is pro and pushing. I mean, it's you got to
It's
really
both parties trying to appease to the libertarians
that
is
too,
what it
yeah,
is.
and then of course the goddamn libertarians. I mean, the libertarians, man, they have destroyed the Republican Party. They really have, because they've turned a party that is supposed to stand for morals. It's supposed to uphold like a culture and a tradition. That's what this country is. Anybody who tells you that this country is an idea is an idiot. This country is a culture that was forged for hundreds of years. I mean, informed by specific people, specific cultures, specific religions, right? Christianity, right? And then you have your Catholics started coming later. And I guess there were some groups of Catholics that were here from the start. But either way, what I'm saying is those morals that those people that founded this country had, they're being deteriorated. And this libertarian movement is, I think, one of the main contributors to destroying that fabric that our founders, not really just our founders, but the people who built this country, the people who built it and established the culture and the societal standards, all that. So they've gone from a moral party to saying, well, do what you want. Oh, it's in what they do in their bedroom is their business, not ours. You know what I mean? And it's like, just, I'm not saying you should like go around and persecute people, but you should have societal standards, and libertarianism has destroyed that. I'm sorry, it's kind of hard for me to spit it all out right now, but
Well, I think it's a slippery slope, right?
Absolutely.
I think libertarians have good ideas that they could bring to the conservative party, but they are trying to fight some of the things that conservatives stand for that is leading to both parties' downfalls.
Yep.
And sure, say do whatever you want in the bedroom, and that's your business, and that's all fine and dandy. But it didn't stay that way, did it? No, it didn't stay in the bedroom. Now
The public schools.
it's in your elementary schools, classrooms, and the books. The teachers are putting flags up.
Yeah.
Sexual preferences and really anything to do with one type of sexual preference or the other doesn't belong in school at all. Sure, teach about anatomy or whatever, but you don't have to sit there and talk about what two gay dudes do and write fucking
And how to
children's
do it.
book about it and give it to them. Yeah,
Like a
when
detailed
they're 9
explanation on
years
how to do
old, and
in a book for a kid.
and this do what you want in your bedroom and be who you want to be, and
Yep.
that's perfectly
Do what feels
fine.
good, right?
And then force that idea onto other people. Well, what that led to was now you have kids that think they have the right to change their gender and be involved in a culture that has a unbelievably high suicide rate, and these parents are so brainwashed they're pushing these children straight to suicide. That's what they're doing. And I mean, I don't know. You don't go around and push autism and things like that on children. So if you have some type of mental illness, not saying that autism is that, but just that it's something that you is changing the way you think that's not normal. I don't necessarily think we should be idolizing that and forcing our children to do that. And you guys want to keep talking about follow the science. Well, the science says that's a mental health issue. So you're teaching children to have mental health issues before they're in middle school. I don't see the thought process there. You're leading them to suicide. You're leading them to therapy sessions all their life. You can potentially be ruining their life if they're mutilating their genitalia. You're slowing down their growing process. It's just it's not a good thing, and all that started with libertarians saying do what you want to do in the bedroom.
Yeah.
And now the left got a hold of that, and they're using it against you, just like they use the private business bullshit. You know what I mean? And now that they're in power, it's only their businesses. So you have to make a gay cake whether you want to or not. But if you say you're against gay marriage on Facebook, they will shut your shit down. And the reasoning for that is they're a private business, so they can do what they want to do. So you're seeing a very discriminate use of power, and once again, that started with a libertarian thought that just it slipped too far down the rabbit hole.
Well, understand something else. The states have always had the right to regulate morality. So a lot of people don't know that. I mean, so the states, you can use the states to get rid of a lot of this stuff. I mean, basically the Constitution states what the federal government is, and the rest of that is up to the states. So, and you're already starting to see this happen, but you see states fighting the federal government and even fighting each other. I mean, didn't Portland just say they weren't going to trade with Texas because of the abortion law? So like you're starting to see lines drawn.
You can't travel there either.
So Biden just said that he was going to ignore governors and fund these schools that are going to tape masks to your kids' faces. Where was that story? Was that local, or was that where the teacher got caught wrapping tape around kids' heads to tape the mask to their head?
I cannot.
Was that local?
I don't remember seeing that one, to be completely honest.
I feel like maybe it's not local. I could probably pull it up on Telegram somewhere, but
yeah.
And look, it doesn't even fill in it for you because they don't want you to know. It's not going to fill in the suggestion because it doesn't want you to know.
Is this her?
I haven't seen.
She
any
looks
video.
like an evil bitch that would do some shit like that.
It's not even giving you.
Oh
results.
my fucking god! They got mask on the puppets.
Yep. No.
Facebook's not gonna show this.
Oh, is it Facebook?
Or not Facebook? I'm sorry.
YouTube.
I got Instagram up too, I believe.
I could probably pull it up on Telegram, but either. I mean, it doesn't matter. We don't have to actually look at it, but
yeah,
it's.
I mean, we know this shit's happening, right?
Yeah.
That's not the only incident that we have that we can bring up where teachers are abusing their powers that they gain from the this libertarian idea that the left's taken advantage of. So I think the scariest thing I've seen in school is the kids pledging allegiance to the gay flag. Like I said, your sexual preference does not belong in my children's classroom.
No.
And if you want to charge a high school kid with a hate crime because he took a gay pride flag down, then what should the teacher that forces that on younger children be charged with? Because to me, that is a far, far worse crime to manipulate a child's mind like that. And like I said, you are potentially, if not definitely, ruining their life. I mean, they could have wanted to grow up and be like mommy and daddy. She might have wanted to be a mother, but now it is beaten into her head that being a mother is a horrible thing. What she should be is not attributing to humanity.
Yep.
And doing whatever makes her body feel well is the most important thing.
Do what feels good. It's this narcissistic attitude, and it comes from this libertarian ideology. And what is the logical conclusion of libertarianism? It's liberalism. And what is the logical conclusion of liberalism? Well, I mean, look around you. So, not to mention, I mean, I think we're going to be facing a lot more than liberalism soon. I mean, look at, I mean, they're creating a new form of, and I know it's kind of cringe at this point to bring up communism, but like it's like a new form of like a socialized communism, right? They want you to live in a pod in a packed city. They want you to eat bugs because meat's not sustainable to feed the amount of people on Earth. They want to fill everything with. I mean it's like the ultimate nightmare for me, at least. What Carl Schwab and all them talk about.
Yeah, I mean, you have to understand, and what. So this will be a segue into. I'm pretty sure it's going to cut off at 30 minutes again. I don't know if you want to do another 30 after that. We can take a break and do another one if you want.
That's up to you, man.
But to kind of segue into something we were talking about before we started recording. Fuck, I forgot what I was talking about. What was you just saying? I was reading.
I was bringing up libertarianism and shit. What was the last point I was making?
Yeah, got off track there.
I don't know. It's late. It's late. I just checked my phone. I didn't realize how late it was.
So I don't know what the segue was, but the segue was going to get into American First and some of the microcultures that are evolving because of the Conservative Party failing. In my opinion, you are seeing very young people starting to look at the government in a different way that they wouldn't have, just a couple years ago.
Yes.
But I don't know of any kid when I was growing up that said they wanted to grow up to be a politician. Well, now you have that. And not only do you have that, but you have kids in middle school, high school that are actually pursuing politics. You have people like me and Paul that are very vocal about politics. And I'm not, young by any standards, I reckon, but I'm not old either. So you're seeing this political shift towards the youth, and the youth have a lot of energy. They have a lot of new ideas, and so these micro cultures and the Conservative Party, first and foremost, we have to stop letting them take our verbiage, like the alt-right. Why is the alt-right a bad thing? We know what the right is, right? The left is proud to be the left, and the right is proud to be the left. So, or the right. So
well, you said that right the first time. The right is proud to be the left.
Yeah. And so what's so bad about being an alternative to what is the standard right? But now it's this, almost the equivalent of being called a Nazi.
Well, you are looking at the language more than you're looking at the people. The alt-right is pretty stupid. I mean, a lot of those guys. Well, it depends on what your definition of the alt-right is. If you're talking about Spencer and all them,
I just don't think
idiots.
I just don't think we should let them take something that we've started describing ourselves as, and then making it a bad thing.
Right.
Like the alt-right is already a dead microculture in the conservative movement, but a large part of that played from the left, taking that word and then using it as an attack. And like I said earlier, the segue was to get into Nick Fuentes. So if you watch older videos and some of his debates and the kill stream or whatever,
Blood sports.
Yeah, they all described themselves early, a couple years ago, as alt-right.
I don't think
because
Nick
it wasn't
did.
a bad thing. And then you slowly started to see the shift where the left took the narrative, they took the word, and then they used it against them. And now it just causes more infighting in the Conservative Party.
They call Ben Shapiro alt-right.
I mean, I don't know about that. I don't even know if Ben Shapiro is really conservative. He's very, you know what? If we're gonna make up new terms for these microcultures, Ben Shapiro is Jewish conservative.
Yeah, Zionist conservative. But he culturally, Ben Shapiro is spot on culturally. I like everything about what he says about cultural standards. He's good there. He's not. He's horrible in foreign affairs. If you get a Ben Shapiro president, you get another Bush.
That's where the Judaism comes in. That's what destroys his foreign affair policies.
Absolutely, because he is like I said, you've got a foreign lobby that controls this party, and he is very much controlled on that. We might have to make the Nick Fuentes talk on the next video, because I'd be glad to talk about that. I know I've introduced you to some of that, and I'm well versed in that field. So
I really want to find, for one, I think it has a lot of good points that people aren't talking about in the mainstream, and I try to kind of snipe it into some of the things I talk about without getting too deep into it, because I know if you go head deep into their total political view, sometimes it might be off-putting if you haven't actually seen that this is what some of the youth and how they feel.
Yeah.
And then it brings up old feelings that we thought we weren't allowed to feel back.
Nick is very harsh at first. I mean, I picked him up, put him down, picked him up, put him down, and then I realized, like, the guy's a genius, and I'm all in on him. I really am.
I'm trying to decide is, I get it, you know, he started this movement, but I haven't really seen any of the politicians that he is really backing. I know he backs the movement.
Paul Gosar is a major one. Paul Gosar, nobody knows about.
I would really like for him to come out and say, hey, this is a strong Republican presidential candidate. But unfortunately, whether you like him or not, I believe DeSantis is going to be the front runner, especially if Trump backs him. And he might not be what,
well, Trump will probably run, though. That's the thing.
If he does that, he's only hurting the Republican Party. But either way, and I don't think the American First Movement wants Trump to run either. But that's what I'm saying. I wish they would come out and be like, hey, this is who we really need to start backing, because it's all fine and dandy to...
They're not there, though. They're not there. I mean, where are they? I mean, DeSantis, I mean, he's got major flaws. Trump, I mean, shit. I mean, he's probably the best. The best. Trump is probably the best we have.
I think Nick is very, very good at doing... He is doing what the left did to us for the last 100 years. He's playing smart 4D chess for the long game. But it would definitely be nice to see some, big swings as far as political names and stuff like that. But I get it. Most of them come out and kind of dog him.
Yeah, they all shit on him. Matt Gaetz just, like, completely shit on him. So
yeah, I think that dude's kind of a nutball.
Gaetz, don't get me into him. I just...
Yeah, I mean, all the guys... Is all right.
Yeah, but all the guys that you guys think are like these hardcore conservatives. What's the other one? The lady.
I don't necessarily think. Well, don't get me wrong. I think some of the real big, still all in on Trump people are hardcore DeSantis backing people. But at the same time, like me myself, I have to support somebody, right? And we have to get Biden and the Democrat Party out of the Oval Office. And I don't want to discredit some of the political views that are being taught right now and the movements going on, but at the same time, we have to take the Oval Office back soon, because they're making big moves, and this 4D chess is a great strategy, but I just don't know what's going to be left when the end game finally happens.
Yeah, things are moving fast. I mean, yeah. So it's only time will tell type deal.
Yeah. Well, we're at 29 seconds. I'm pretty sure this is going to turn off. I'm not sure why it's doing that. Maybe I put it at 1080p or something, and it's a bigger format or something. I'm not sure. I'm not very technical. Paul's going to start coming on more, and hopefully he starts looking in some of this tech support stuff, so it's not just me looking into this shit. But yeah, it was a good time. I will get these uploaded to Facebook. It takes forever, and if these were shutting off at 30 minutes, it's probably going to take even more. You're going to have part 1 and part 2, and we'll try to get together soon and maybe get a little bit deeper in the AF movement and speak on that a little bit. I know I'm very new to it, so I don't really want to claim or speak of what they have to say. I can only just criticize at this point, and I don't necessarily know if they're digging that at the moment. But yeah, thanks everybody for watching. Thanks for all the support. I know we're small right now, but we gotta spread the message. So like, share, subscribe, stay safe, start getting prepared because it's coming. Winter is days away. I love you guys. Stay safe. Peace, y'all.